God in such a timely manner. Somebody's mind will be awakened. Somebody's stubborn heart will be broken. Somebody's tongue will be loosed. And somebody will say, Lord, I need you. At this time we're going to be slipping into another gear, and we're going to be listening to some tributes. We're going to be hearing from the saints from the Potsdam Assembly, of which Uncle Clinton was a part for quite a number of years. And this will be followed by the children. And then we're going to have Donald Jones saying something on behalf of the nephews. We're going to ask that we come in that order.
And the tables and splendor, someone standing by the open door. I can see a crystal river, oh, I must be there forever, and I've never been this homesick before. See the bright light shine, it's just about home time. I can see my father standing at the door. This world has been a wilderness, I'm ready for deliverance. Lord, I've never been this homesick before. I can see the family gathered, sweet faces they're familiar. No one's growing feeble anymore. This lonesome heart is crying because wrapped my wings of flying. Lord, I've never been this homesick before. See the bright light shine, it's just about home time. I can see my father standing at the door. This world has been a wilderness, I'm ready for deliverance. Lord, I've never been this homesick before. See the bright light shine, it's just about home time. I can see my father standing at the door. This world has been a wilderness, I'm ready for deliverance. Lord, I've never been this homesick before. Lord, I've never been this homesick before.
Tribute to our father. Losing our father is one of the most difficult things we have had to go through. However, today we realize how fortunate and how blessed we were to have had you as such a father. Words cannot be found to express the positive influence you have had on our lives, and it's only through your example that Andrew, Mark now deceased, and I have learned to be the type of husband and father that we are. Although Daddy never said it loud, how truly and how proud he was of all of us where we were growing up. But we knew that he was truly proud of his 6 children. Nobody can be perfect, but Daddy was close to being the most perfect father any child could have. Dad's love for us was unconditional, and this is something that we all will cherish from his character and take with us forever.
Andrew. Andrew and I can recall as kids how Daddy used to have us on either side of him in bed and sang to us. We still remember that song, Row, row, row your boat. However, sometimes after singing, Daddy would say he's going to play dead and held onto us tightly and close his eyes. Of course, I would start crying and shake Dad to wake up. Can't bear to see my pain, he would oblige and kiss me and said, I'm just playing, sweetheart. Dad, we wish today was one of those games. As a child, I would follow Daddy everywhere, much to the annoyance of Mom, who wanted me to assist with the house chores. I recall waking up to go with him to watch him milk the cows, go with him to the shop, and sat with him in the garden as he tilled the soil. I could always run into your arms from the wrath of Mom, who claimed you spoiled me rotten. I even recall that even becoming an adult, getting married with children, my place in your lap was always open for me. I'd always be Daddy's baby girl. Dad was everyone's alarm clock. If you want to get up to study or go anywhere at any particular time, just tell Dad and all would be fine. Daddy, Father, Clint, these are the ways I would address you, and you always seem to enjoy it as your response each time would be, yes, darling, or yes, sweet, yes, dear. It was so easy to love you, Daddy. Each time I see you, it was so easy to love you, Daddy. Each time I see you, I'll have to give you 3 kisses. I'm not sure of the significance of the 3, but if given 2, you didn't seem satisfied. 1 or 2, you wouldn't seem satisfied. On a Sunday morning, I look forward to sitting between you and Mom at church. I think you did too, because as soon as you saw me, you would shift to make space for me. I many times felt like you're a little girl and not your big daughter, and I love the feeling.
From Sandra. Sandra says she has so many beautiful, wonderful memories of Dad. It would take the entire day, but the childhood ones that stood out in her mind was while attending tests along with Mark. Daddy used to clean their shoes every morning to ensure they had the cleanest shoes in school. Mark and I would get into frequent fights, and Dad would always break it up and held us both in one hand and discipline us. This spanking would last us for a year. However, the best memory for her is one Sunday after Sunday school, my cousin Dawn, my childhood friend Pat, Avril and I went through Parsons' window. You see, Harrison was a person from our district who had just died, and Avril and Pat said he told them before he passed to take whatever they wanted from his house. It was like he willed it to them. So we thought nothing was wrong with it. There was a room filled with stationeries on the floor, so we took as much as we could carry among us. Dawn went home boasting to her sister-in-law about all the things we retrieved, and she told Joan, who passed our misadventure to my grandmother, who was in charge as our parents weren't home at the time. I at this moment knew that all that had transpired was indeed wrong. That night, I went to bed and pretended to be asleep. When my parents came home, Granny told Dad what I did, and he grabbed me from my bed and gave me a proper spanking and said, "Unu na fiti," lesson learned. In later years, when Dad got sick, I would videotape him and Mom at least 3 times per day. He would always end the call with kisses and "I love you, darling. If we don't meet again, we will meet in heaven." On this final day, October 8th, I spoke to him 3 hours before his passing, and his last words were to me, "Keep sweet, darling."
I can recall on one occasion when I stole Daddy's English card to make a kite. Daddy asked me where I got the card from. I told him I got it from Uncle John. But soon after he realized the card was his. He gave me a typical Jamaican spanking. You know fi tell lie. On one occasion, Sean and I were picking hackberries when I threw a stone at the hackberries and it hit Sean in her head. She ran to Daddy, and being the spoiled child Sean was, he listened to her side, and did not give me a chance to tell my story, and he gave me a good spanking. Christmas will never be the same for us again. In October, Daddy would remind me of the bottles to be exchanged for drinks. Christmas, in order to avoid the Christmas rush.
Daddy loved people and would sacrifice his time Daddy was always well-groomed, and when he was unable to shave himself, that's Andrew. Okay, this is from Andrew. Daddy was always well-groomed, and when he was unable to shave himself, I would make it my duty to shave him on a regular basis, and he would always be appreciated. Daddy loved people and would sacrifice his time and resources to help those he came in contact with. No produce from his farm was too good to give his 2 favorite girls in the community, Miss Joy and Mrs. Vanetta White. He worked tirelessly on his farm so as to ensure that the needs of his family were met. Daddy, you were the mirror in which I looked at myself as a farmer. That image has helped to transform my goals and has made me into a person with great dreams and aspirations. Although he had no formal agricultural training, he used his practical experiences coupled with his favorite McDonald book to guide me in different agronomical practices which I currently use in my agricultural career. In March of 2006, we were both featured in the Daily Gleaner as the first in the community to introduced the concept of drip irrigation. At age 15, he gave me my first bag of fertilizer and a pack of cucumber, which has laid the foundation for my interest in agriculture. He taught me the value of hard work and the importance of waking up early to accomplish my daily tasks. I can vividly hear the knocking on my room door and Dad saying, "Kingsley, 6 o'clock, wake up." It is from this experience I have developed not only a sense of hard work, but also of independence and a love for agriculture. I can still remember my first toy train that Daddy brought back for me after returning from the United States of America Farm Work Program. It was designed to reverse when it pounced upon an object. On Monday day, it was disrepaired by my two friends, Basil Spooner and Everton Williams. I was also made to understand that during the era when Daddy was a young man, it was a custom then that when a young man fell in love with a young lady, he had to write a letter to the parents of the young lady outlining how he was going to take care of their daughter. Daddy was noted for his penmanship and his lyrics, so Master Rudolph, now called Pumpkin, engaged him to pen his letter to Miss Bobsey's parents. Today, Miss Bobsey and Master Rudolph are still husband and wife. Ladies and gentlemen, it is true that blood follows vein. I say this against the background that Ever Williams, that's Pumpkin's son, when he fell in love with Joan, I played a major role in establishing that relationship. Today, Joan and Eva are still husband and wife. How can I end this tribute without letting you into a secret? Although Daddy lived for 88 years, he could not drive. I don't even think he knew how to blow the horn of a car. Yet on many occasions, Master Rudolph would ask Daddy to accompany Miss Bobsey, who was just learning to drive, to Malvern. It was their view that Daddy's posture and masculine look would have prevented the police from stopping them. I am of the view that being the first child, Daddy imposed more discipline on me. Whenever I was sent on errands, some of his warning expressions were, "Kingsley, don't let us spit on it dry until you come back. If you fall down, don't even stop to stand up, roll." He never took kindly to any of his relatives kissing him on the cheek, and even us as his sons and nephews had to kiss him on his mouth. We grew up in the same house with our grandma, Alice. She believed in Cersei. It was therefore a routine for all of us to have a cup of that bitter medicine routinely. Daddy was the one assigned to feed us. If by any chance we refused to drink, he would hold us tightly and say, "Gwat, gwat, gwat," until he finished.
Daddy, the summer of our togetherness,
from cradle to exist, lingers on our minds. It is that not even death can erase. Daddy, we will always remember that bitter smile, the kisses, your caring and loving heart, your warm embraces, and your patience and love for us and Mom.
Daddy, you are all ordinary man. And there will never be another to replace you in our hearts.
We are indeed proud to tell the world that you were our Father. Rest in peace, Daddy, until we meet again in heaven. Love you, Daddy. Sorry. Just, I have a tribute here. This was written by our brother Christy, and it's specific to Sean. I sat at my father's bedside and watched as he reached his last breath. I never thought we would share this final moment together. Daddy's service to his family was unrelenting and inspiring. He was always there, ready to serve us with grace and a pleasant smile. Not in quiet retreat, he was ready to depart this life. I reached down to embrace him, and his smile met me. Thank God for such a precious gift in a father. Only with Christ could such a blessing be bestowed. I watched and I waited as his breath rescinded. I reached out to him with a drink, hoping to refresh and revive him. It was my last service to him in that moment of grief. He smiled warmly, and we had our last kiss. My grief heightened, and tears wet my cheek as we parted quietly. But he had left for that special mansion in heaven, to share the royal presence of his blessed Savior. This brought great comfort to me and such delight to the family, to hear the words of special commendation. Well done, good and faithful servant. I turned to console mother overwhelmed with grief. She had lost her dear companion and husband for 60 years. But we shall meet again in that grand reunion with Christ that is coming. There finally to celebrate the triumph of God's grace. O grave, where is your victory? Thanks be to God. Penned by Christy Goodhart or Sean.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon and good morning everyone. Just like to say, I'm so glad that I'm a part of the family of God.
Amen. Amen.
But one of the things I just want to say, I'm so glad that I'm a part of the Palmer's family. Because I believe that we are just a blessed family. Unique and special, I believe. And I'm just so glad that I'm associated with this family. I'm supposed to be giving the tribute from the nieces and nephews of Uncle Clinton. What I found very interesting is I got the thoughts together of my other cousins, where that they were all, we overlapped in the many things that we were saying about Uncle Clinton. We all have the same thoughts of him. So I'm just going to read that, not to repeat everything. So I'm just going to share what I've gathered. Georgia says, my dear Uncle Clinton was very special to me. I remember after my dad's passing, he reassured me not to worry. While in college and university, he ensured that every time I visited, I got fruits and vegetables. A very special uncle indeed. Patsy, Uncle Clinton was always jovial. You never saw him without a smile. There was always that loving, caring atmosphere about him. He's always asking about our well-being, and you never greet him without a kiss on his mouth. Inez, Uncle Clinton always makes you feel, Uncle Clinton always made you feel special. I was always his pretty girl, and he never greeted you without a big hug and kiss, Palmer style. Carol, Uncle Clinton had an infectious smile. and laughter, kindness and love was his speciality. I remember we would run to the tangerine tree and pick them sometimes half green, and he pretended that he did not see us. Referring to everyone as millionaire was enough to let you know that he wished you well. Beverly, Uncle Clinton loved the Lord and set examples of being extremely family-oriented, showing kindness and love that exceeded normal limits to everyone. Lincoln, well, we'll always remember Uncle Clinton's warm and gentle smile, along with his protectiveness. Always look forward to his kiss with his unabashed love and kindness. Courtney, Uncle Clinton always had a smile on his face, along with a generous heart. In all the years I have known him, I have never seen him upset. He certainly displayed the peace of God that he had in his soul. I will always fondly remember him, referring to me always as Steve, especially as it reminded me of the name of his father, and I shared. Paul, and that's Palmer. Uncle Clinton was always with a smile. The joy of the Lord gave expression in the way he treated others, compassionate and kind indeed. He was a man of many sterling qualities. Derek, I remembered as a child growing up that my father and Uncle Clinton would always exchange working days on their farms. I also remember that Daddy was Uncle's barber. I also recall that Uncle Clinton was the veterinarian who would castrate the pigs and the dogs for Daddy. My first order of business when I came down was to go directly to see Uncle Clinton. He would have been very disappointed if I didn't. Donald, yours truly. Uncle Clinton was a real man with a big heart of love. Some of his outstanding qualities were his unwavering love for the Lord. He was fun-loving, very passionate. He was a firm believer that family came first. He thought it took sweat and determination to achieve. With great admiration, David and I recall that on our visits during the holidays, just seeing Uncle Clinton and Aunt Una hugging each other like two teenagers while in bed had made lasting impression on us. We all salute you, Uncle Clint. Rest well.
Let me say thanks to the saints from the Potsdam Assembly for having reminded us in song that we are ready for deliverance from this wilderness. Thanks to the children for having refreshed our memories with so many outstanding things regarding Uncle Clinton. And I want to say thanks to Donald for having brought us up to date as to the thoughts that we treasure regarding our dear beloved uncle. Just to say that as I listen to the children and Donald, I realized that a sort of emptiness started to walk through my being. Because the coronavirus has struck. And we being a part of this amazing family, we can't do what we like to do best. Hug, kiss, it doesn't matter the gender. Uncle Clinton would say to you, whether you're a male or a female, listen, you have to kiss me on my mouth. And I guess that's where we get this kissing thing from. But that's all right. I feel good about it. And it was just days ago I was speaking to Lincoln. And Lincoln found himself saying, you know what? It's just amazing that I'm just beginning to appreciate the blessedness of those kisses. Thank God for family members. You know what? With this kind of legacy, the challenge is on us to keep it going. Unfortunately, we're not as together as we should, and these days we don't even know each other the way we should. But I trust, I hope, I pray that out of the departure of Uncle Clint, all of us will make a special effort from now on to be the family members that he really wanted us to be. And we're going to be continuing. This time around, we're going to be hearing from Dr. Wayne Andrew Palmer, the grandson. Then we'll be hearing from Sharon Palmer, that's King's wife. And then we'll be hearing from the Bethel Gospel Chapel, and our dear brother Jeremy Palmer will be doing something. Please come in that order.
What comes to mind when you hear the name Clinton Palmer? Husband, father, farmer are some of the words that may come to mind. To us, Clinton Palmer was just grandpa. He was not a man of many words, but when he spoke, his voice commanded attention, and we had no choice but to listen. You were not only a father to our parents, but you were a father figure to us, and you were truly a living embodiment of who a grandfather is meant to be. Take, for instance, those days when you would clean Chevron's shoes when he was too tired after a long day of training, coupled with the impending doom of exams just around the corner. Your gesture of kindness didn't just stop there, however, as you would wake up 2 a.m. religiously to ensure that Sheldon was up to get in precious hours of studying. That took commitment, that took care, and that took love. As Sheldon put it, Grandpa the man. Never once did I feel like I wasn't at home when I was around Grandpa. Grandpa, I can say with certainty that you helped to show me the true meaning of being a man and being a husband. I always observed how affectionate you were towards Grandma, and I always said to myself that one day I'd want to be able to live up to those impeccable standards when I got married. You are a gentleman with an insatiable appetite for showing acts of endearment. I hope I can live up to those high standards that you set, and that your sacrifices that set the foundation for a generation will not be forgotten. Grandpa had many occupations, which may have very well influenced the career of some of his grandchildren. He was a dentist who needed no anesthetic aid in pulling a tooth. Giselle, you can attest to this, as he was the one responsible for pulling out her first set of teeth. His trick was that if she closed her eyes, clenched her fist, she wouldn't feel a thing. Grandpa was our very own ATM machine. Whenever he would sit back in his black chair, yes, Grandma, that one that you hated so much, money would fall from his pocket and go through the crease of the chair and fall onto the floor. So every evening, some of us would go to check under the chair for money because we knew that he would tell us to keep it. Grandpa was a protector. Whenever our neighboring friends would come to the house to try to beat up on us, we would call Grandpa and he would yell at them, chasing them home. He would not permit any harm to befall his grandchildren. Grandpa was also a counselor. Whenever one of us got infuriated about something, he would tell us, "A soft answer turneth away wrath," giving us a sense of calm, repudiating any thoughts of anger. I think all of you will agree with me in saying that Grandpa was a very kind and thoughtful person, and we grandchildren benefited from this. Whenever Grandpa would go to Marlon the Barber, buy Kincaid's, he would ensure that he brought back a chocolate called Catch and cut it in half for all of us to share. Every evening, some of his granddaughters came home from school. Grandpa would ask the same exact question every day and not be tired to hear the same answers for so many years. He would ask, Giselle in particular, who carry your home, baby? What them left you off? You are coming in this evening? Grandpa not only cared about the well-being of his granddaughters, but it was evident that he was also concerned about the appearance of his grandsons. John Mark, you and I can attest to this. Whenever one of us would arrive at the house and say hello, without him saying, how are you, he would say, you stabbed the barber, meaning that a haircut was needed pronto. John Mark theorizes that this is where Uncle Andrew got this tendency to say with his stutter, you just say you want you. Grandpa was a God-fearing and optimistic man despite the ailments he faced towards the end of his life. Whenever I would ask him how he was doing, he would say, aches and pains, my son, but me still a galang. The Lord not doing more than we can bear. With all that is said and done, we are really happy to have had a role model as Grandpa Clinton for these many years, and we're grateful for his wise counsel and chastisement that have shaped us to become better individuals. Your first grandson, Christopher, would have wanted to be here in the flesh, but he did have some words he wanted to share. I migrated to self-actualize, become the best version of myself. Grandpa, I was looking forward to meeting up with you and Grandma and sharing my accomplishments and also showing you how mature I've become. I will miss you, but I know you're in a better place. Rest on, Grandpa. In coming toward the end, I'd like to echo some sentiments shared by Kathy and Tony. My dearest Grandpa, some of my memories were the summers I spent with you and Grandma. From waking up early to watch you feed the chickens and pigs, and sometimes going to pick hogberries, those memories I'll cherish forever. There is no one in the world that could make me feel as special or as pretty as you did. You are little darlings, you call us. Thank you for always taking care of me, loving me, and reminding me just how special I was. I'll always love you. My dearest Grandpa, my last visit with you didn't seem long enough, and I anticipated coming home for my birthday to spend some quality time with you. Little did I know that it would be our last time together. I'll miss you, dear Grandpa, your warmth, your smile, and the many kisses you requested before I left. But I'm comforted by the fact that we'll see each other again. I'll close with the words of the Apostle Paul taken from 2 Corinthians 5 verse 8, which says, we are confident, I say, and willing, rather, to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. Sleep well, Grandpa. Amen. Sleep well. Amen. Amen.
The privilege is mine this morning to bring tributes on behalf of the siblings and the in-laws of Clinton Palmer, our dearly beloved brother and father-in-law. Clinton Palmer is survived by two sisters, Aunt Hyacinth and Aunt Carmen. Aunt Carmen says, a loving, caring, and precious brother Clint. There's one who knows why we are sad. There's one who cares for us. Let's look to him and trust him, and he will see us through. He knows our fears and sorrows. He hears our prayer above. Each day he freely gives us the strength of his great love. Clint was loving, sweet brother and uncle to my children, one we will never forget. He was born a few years before me, and I was the last child of my parents. The time we spent at home was wonderful, and I truly miss him. Never will I forget the last words he spoke to me days before he died. Carmen, I love you with all my heart. And I said, I love you with all my heart too, dear. Donald, his nephew, was also there, and he said, Uncle, I love you with all my heart too. After which he stopped talking and fell asleep. I felt really sad when I called the following day to hear that he was not eating or talking or only sleeping. Then, the following evening, he went to be with the Lord. I love and miss my brother Clint. It was really sad. We won't be speaking again, but we will meet in Gloryland, where we will never say goodbye. To my dear aunt, sister Una, nieces and nephews, and all my family and loved ones, I say, let's cheer up, carry on, love the Lord and each other. Sleep on, my brother, take your rest. We love you well, but Jesus loves you best. Sleep on. Aunt Hyacinth says, it's surprising to know that of all our siblings, she is the longest living. The Lord has taken Clinton and now he is at rest. So may the Lord give us the strength, faith, courage to go on, especially with all that is happening in the world today. It's our hope that the Lord will take us to reunite with all our loved ones that are gone on before. On behalf of the in-laws, today I'm indeed grateful for the opportunity afforded me to pay tribute to our dear Uncle Clinton, Daddy, Grandpa, a respectable man with great humility, which was demonstrated in all the facets of his life. Nick recalls that when Daddy took ill and whenever she would miss visiting, he would be quick to point out to her that she didn't show up and to tell her husband Andrew that he missed her visit. Likewise, he would say to me, what a way you dash me away. Uncle Clinton was a great father-in-law to all the ladies and gentlemen that he was so graciously accepted as his children's spouses. Daddy, as we affectionately addressed him, was loving, caring, and compassionate.